Alright, in this one here I'm going to attempt to graph this, or graph some points, and then we'll actually bring up a graph on the Google page. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with, for example, we'll start with -1 in this particular case. So we're going to let x be -1 and y is equal to x squared. In other words, we're going to square -1. I guess I'll just show that right here, and that becomes 1. So -1, 1. So we're going to plot that point right there, and then we plug 0 in. 0 squared is 0. So then it's passing through the origin. This is the origin here. And kind of running out of room here. Plug 1 in. 1 squared is 1. So the other ordered pair is 1, 1. So that's going to be about right here. So there's going to be some symmetry involved. Plug 2 in. 2 squared is 4. Alright, so let's say this is 1 here, and we go over to 2, and then we would go up to 4 up here. Okay. Anyway, if I were to write this as some ordered pairs, our first ordered pair was -1 and then 1. So that's this address here. Then our other one was 0, 0. And we had another one, 1, 1. And then we plugged in 2, and we got 4 out. So this is just 4 points here. Right? Now remember, if we're using the real number system, there's an infinite number of points. Then we could sketch this thing out. And it's something like this. Boy, that's a rough sketch, let me tell you. Let's actually look at it on a graph. On a real graph. Okay, isn't this much prettier? So this was 0, 0, and this was, as you can see, remember our coordinates are up here, so I'm going to go to -1, and remember at -1 it was 1, and then at 1 it was 1, 2, I think we just stopped at 2, it went to 4 here, but you can see the shape of what that equation looks like. Y is equal to x squared. Right, isn't that pretty? That's called a parabola. This particular curve here is known as a parabola. Alright. Okay, well, hopefully you're getting the idea of graphing an equation. So we talked about these two lines here, the y-axis, the x-axis, and of course remember there's an infinite number of points on both the y-axis and the x-axis here, even though I've only been plotting just a few points here. So this is kind of a review. Remember, this is the quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, this is quadrant 4. Okay, this is known as an ordered pair. This is your first coordinate, and this is your second coordinate. And the first coordinate here, we normally call this the x coordinate, and this is the y coordinate here, because this comes from the y-axis. Right. So there's a lot of power behind being able to draw a graph with its equation. And of course, sometimes we don't just have equations, we might just have some data, and we want to plot our points on a graph to kind of look at our data visually, which is really important. Well, the next section is on relations and functions, and that's what we're going to get to next. This particular one, of course you can't see it up here, this y is equal to x squared. These last two, these are what are known as functions, and of course we're going to get into a lot of detail in that because that's extremely important, this idea of a function, which is actually a relation in more a general sense. In a more general sense, it's known as relation, but a special kind of relation is called a function. And we use a lot of it in mathematics. So you really want to get that understanding down. Alright, have a good one.